you are a B2B service-based business owner and you are looking to gain clients, create more impact and more value in your business to amplify your marketing message, Campbell Rappin, and take you through how to buyers, mastering your market, and making offers convert consistently, well, on the inside. Podcasting, my friends, is a smart way to gain clients without pitching, without posting, without pursuing. And yet so many people, while the dream is possible, fell short of the execution. Not today, my friends. Today, we're going to show you exactly how to do this from somebody who does it very well and who I have collaborated with in podcasting land. So please give a very warm welcome to Dave Dubeau, who is going to be joining us today. Welcome to the show, Dave.
Christine, absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, my friend introduced us, which is the power of networking. And we had such a good conversation that I wanted to continue the story because you have cracked this nut.
Well, so have you, because I had the pleasure of interviewing you on my show. So it's it's a great way to connect with people. But yeah, I've been using podcasting for myself, for my business, as my number one lead generator for the last 3 or 4 years. And for the last year and a half or so, we've been working with other people, helping them to build what I call a high-ticket podcast for lead generation for themselves as well.
I know, and I love this idea of lead generation because so many people do podcasting and it just ends up noise. But you're saying that it's not only successful, it's been successful for years for you to gain that high ticket. And we were thinking, well, what the hell's high ticket? For this purposes, we're talking $10,000 clients or more. But why is podcasting smarter than other types of cold outreach, funnels, complicated stuff? Because we've been sold that complicated stuff for quite a few years.
Well, you know what? Sometimes that complicated stuff can work, and it has worked for lots of gurus, it appears. It just doesn't always seem to work for the rest of us. I don't know if you found that or not, Christine. So just podcasting for me, it's been an up and down journey. I did everything wrong at the beginning. I was just kind of following the crowd, and I built my initial podcast hoping to create a thought leadership platform because everybody said that was important. And I was, really trying to build up a big audience. And I was hoping that, I could invite big wigs on my show. And I was hoping they would share their episode with their millions of followers. And I was hoping some of those people would become listeners. And I was hoping some of them would turn into clients. And there was a hell of a lot of hoping and not much happening, Christine, is what really it boiled down to. And then credit where credit is due. 3 or 4 years ago, I was listening to a podcast myself, and this annoyingly young, smart guy named Jamie Atkinson came on, and he talked about this whole, using a podcast as a lead generator. Podcast closing is what I think he called it. And he said, hey, you know what? I don't care about interviewing gurus. I don't care about strutting my stuff on my own stuff on my show. I don't care about, huge audience growth and trying to focus 100% on that. All I care about is interviewing the exact kind of people I want to do business with, my exact perfect client avatar, and starting the relationship that way and hopefully converting that interview into a discovery call and into business. And when he said that, and then he also said, I don't do onesie-twosie interviews every week or two. I do multiple interviews every single week. So that's the whole goal. So as soon as I learned that, the light bulb went off. I said, that's smart. And I just kind of, rejigged all of my focus onto that because I was already kind of doing a podcast. I just hadn't been doing it the right way. And it completely transformed the way I do business.
It's important to decide when you decide about podcasting, what is your intent behind it? Because there are reasons you would want to do thought leadership. There are reasons you want to leverage somebody else's audience. And there are reasons like this one, specifically in today's episode, this is lead generation.
Yeah.
And this is a choice to use podcasting as lead generation because the truth is the other ways are cold and podcasting develops relationships. So you've said it. I want to go there. Yeah. You made a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me again.
When did you realize, you showed Jamie, and Jamie has a very successful formula. I know lots of people in my network who've been through his programming. When you're first starting out, though, in the lead generation lane, what did you learn fast that helped shape success?
With regards to podcasting?
podcasting as a lead generation? Because I'm sure what you do now has been polished over the journey.
Yeah, it has. So it's really getting clear, like everybody tells you, really getting clear on your avatar. Who do you serve the best? Who do you really want to be talking with? That was a big part of it. How we do lead generation, how we get guests booked on the show has morphed and changed over the years, that's for sure. The volume of interviews that you want to do. At my peak, Christine, believe it or not, I was doing 25 to 30 interviews a week.
Wow. I can't imagine.
Don't do that. That's insane. That's way too much. I've dialed it way back. These days, we're getting our clients booked in, doing typically 5 to 6 interviews a week. That's very manageable. They can do that in 2-hour blocks a week. So a total of 4 hours a week is all you really need to make this work well, consistently. So it's really focusing on who is your ideal target avatar. And hint, you guys, we have to kind of work backwards. You have to think about, okay, who are the kind of people that would want to be interviewed on a podcast? So in my case, this tends to work really well more in the B2B space, right? People who are in business for themselves, entrepreneurs, business owners, executives, self-employed professionals. So these kind of people typically like the idea of getting more PR and exposure for themselves and their company. So that works really well if that is your avatar. Does that answer the question a bit?
It does. And it also leads me to another, which is the importance of having a system here. Because I think sometimes people go, I know who I want to talk to, but if they don't want to talk publicly on a podcast, this might not be the best match, because you're going to be convincing and encouraging people who are not going to shine well. And you want them to shine well and the relationship and the conversation to be warm so they can lead somewhere. But you've talked a bit about systems here, and I want to just lean in for a second here. What is so important about a system, and how do you ensure that the system provides the end result, which is the clients being won, committed, and contract is signed?
Yeah, so there's multiple systems within there. So there's the lead generation system. So that's going out, finding your ideal avatar, connecting with them, inviting them to be a guest on the system. That's on the show. That's one system. The other system is the actual interview itself and the conversation conversion. So the system from going from interview to discovery call to contract signed. That's another system. And then the other system is the whole production side of things. So getting your podcast produced and cranked out and content created and delivered out into the world, plus to your guests so they can share it as well. So I think for the purposes of our conversation, probably one of the best systems to focus on would be the actual interview system. How do you convert that interview into a client? Would that be helpful, Christine?
It would be awesome. Take us there.
Well, are you up for having some fun and doing a little bit of role play here?
Sure, always.
Okay, very good. So one of my main businesses, Property Profits Real Estate Podcast, we work with what are called real estate syndicators, guys and gals that buy big apartment buildings, and they need to bring on a lot of investors and raise millions of dollars to buy these things, right? So that's one of my, that's my main avatar I've been working with for a few years. So let's pretend that you are one of those people. You are a real estate investor, real estate syndicator. You're buying and selling apartment buildings. Does that make sense, Christine?
It does. Green light. Yep.
So the interview system goes like this. First thing is we jump on Zoom or Restream or Riverside or whatever platform you're using. And Christine and I are there before the actual interview starts. And I'm going to assume quite often, Christine, the people I interview haven't been interviewed that many times. They're not really accustomed to being a podcast guest. So the first part of the system is pre-interview, put the person at ease, break the ice, create a little bit of rapport, get them relaxed, set the stage, let them know that, hey, here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to have a short, sweet 15 to 20 minute conversation. At the end, stick around for a minute. I'll stop the recording, circle back, get a little screenshot, let you know what's going to be coming up, that sort of thing, right? So we set the stage, put the person at ease. Then the second part of the interview system is the interview itself. And here's what's really important, you guys. The interview itself, if you're doing this methodology, is all about your guest not really about you. So my goal on my interview is not to strut my stuff and show how smart I am. It's to make my guest look good, feel good, and sound good. That is my goal for doing this interview, because again, it's all about creating this relationship, right? So we do the interview. In my case, I have a certain choreography that I go through with the questions, start talking about what they're up to with real estate, what's their methodology, what's their target market, what's their strategy, what's their secret sauce, kind of pull those ideas out from them. And then in this case, at the end, I want to be talking with them about investor lead generation or raising capital, because that's what I can help them with, right? So I don't want to jump in and start preaching about what we do in our methodology, but I just want to start opening the conversation. So I'd say something like this. So Christine, sounds like things are going really well with your syndication business. Now, a lot of folks in syndication these days, a big part of their efforts goes into raising private capital, finding investors and raising money for their deals. So Christine, what do you find works best for you in 2025 for raising private capital?
Well, I think it's getting into the right rooms, people who actually are looking for alternative methods of investment and wealth creation.
Perfect. So blah, blah, blah. We chat about that. Good. That was a good answer. And we wrap things up, finish off the interview. So I stopped the recording. Christine and I are still now we're in the green, what's called the green room in Zoom or Riverside or what have you. And I'm going to just do a little bit of housekeeping. Let Christine, what's coming up next, provide even more value. Say, Christine, would you like us to create some reels out of this and create some social media content for you? Would that be helpful? They usually say yes. They love that idea. And then here's what I do. Here's where the magic happens, Christine. Okay. So I would circle back to you and I'd say, hey, Christine, sounds like things are going really well with your syndication business. Now, you mentioned that, for finding new investors and raising capital, you're doing a lot of networking. Let me ask you this. Are you 100% happy with the kind of results you're getting with networking? Or is there maybe a little room for improvement there when it comes to attracting and finding new investors?
Always room for more.
Always room for improvement, right? So, okay, cool. Well, Christine, we're doing something really interesting with some real estate syndicators just like you, helping them to connect with about 5 or 6 accredited investors every single week, 20 a month on average. And the best thing is it's very low pressure, non-salesy, and it's working really, really well. In fact, one of our Rockstar clients, they've added 80 new investors to their list in the last 12 months. Is that something you might be interested in taking a look at?
Sure. You sparked my curiosity.
Boom. Book them into a follow-up discovery call, show them your stuff, get them enrolled. Does that make sense, Christine?
It totally makes sense. And I love that this always comes from a place of they have a recognized passion, interest, and value is what you're creating in the episode. It's invitation and permission based, which I think is so important.
Well, I call this leading with the giving hand, right? Because what are these folks looking for? They're looking for exposure. They're looking for free marketing. They're looking for free PR. They're looking for content that they can share online. What are we giving them? All of that, right? By being a guest on our podcast. So that's what I love about this methodology. Instead of trying to convince somebody to jump on a sales conversation with you right off the bat, we provide value first. We lead with the giving hand, and then we naturally kind of massage the conversation towards what we do and see if there's interest and just invite them to a follow-up discovery call. And if you do it right, my client stats are that 7 out of 10 people that they invite to a discovery call accept the invitation. So they get 70% of their interviews converting into discovery call, and then from that into clientele.
And my friends, that's 1,000,000% better than posting and praying and pursuing people who are not determined and yet established as buyers. And that's the thing I am all about here on Amplify Your Marketing Message. Like, effective marketing stirs curiosity with a buyer. If it doesn't do that, it's not effective. Don't do more of it. It's not working.
Yeah, so that's the ideal thing. You find your avatar, you know that they're already kind of looking for doing, or they're involved in something or other around what you do, then it's very easy to create that curiosity and that hook.
It is. And take the easy path, my friends. Sometimes the hard stuff doesn't need to be even harder than you're thinking it is. I want to take this just one step further, and that is when you step into the discovery call, how do you set the scene to make this, again, the converting piece as the lead gen? What do you set the scene as your first kind of approach when the discovery
this is
call
going
starts?
to be different for everybody, Christine, because it depends on what model you're using. So, for example, a lot of my real estate syndicator guys and gals, their minimum investment is $100,000, right? So it's unrealistic to expect somebody to cut you a check for $100,000 after one meeting like this, right? So you have to have intelligent steps in between. But in our world, in the coaching, consulting, advisor type space, it really all has to do with whatever your methodology is, whatever your normal conversion mechanism is. But bottom line is trying to create an irresistible offer, right? That's what it kind of all boils down to. So it's walking people through. So the discovery call is going to be different for everybody. It's really going to depend on what your offer is. That's why when we work with clients, we work with people that already have a proven system. They've got a track record. They've got a proven offer. This is not a new thing for them. This is just a new form of getting really, really high quality leads. Does that make sense?
It does make sense. And I think it's important, audience, I hope you heard that. We don't jump into bed with somebody for a very big ticket in a 30-minute meeting very often. It's weird. It's rare. So think about your long-term process of nurturing, because it's going to be one that is intentional and for the right people, really, really, really worth it. So I'd like to ask you this. I ask all of my guests this because you're giving a really great way. If you want to create podcasting as a funnel, i.e. a process of moving somebody from I'm curious to tell me more to I'd like to partner for that result. In you and your business right now, you've said you made mistakes. You're winning with this new formula. What does it take to win even more? And how is the landscape changing for you as you look to the horizon? What are you going to lean into? And what are you going to say, it's time to reprioritize to get it right for us?
Yeah, well, for the last year and a half, I've been working exclusively with folks in the real estate space, with syndicators and fund managers. And if you've kept an eye on the news, those folks have gone through a real tumultuous time the last few years with rising rates, et cetera, et cetera. So it's a good market, but I also realized, hey, you know what? This whole thing works well for so many people, like high ticket coaches, consultants, advisors. So that's been my big awakening this year, Christine, is to broaden the scope of the people that I serve with this service, because it doesn't just need to be for real estate.
I love it, because things sometimes are cyclical in the marketplace, and real estate can be one, even at the syndicate level. So I think it's awesome. I think people should really explore this. And you offer a high ticket service. You actually teach people how to build a show, how to fill the show, how to promote the show. Tell us a little bit about that and where people find you.
We actually don't teach people how to do that. We do it for them, Christine. So we have an agency. It's a turnkey process. We build the show for them. We fill it up with their ideal guests. We produce everything for them. It's turnkey. All they have to do is show up on Zoom with a smile and a clean shirt. Remember, click record. Everything else happens like magic in the background. So you guys, if you're interested in finding out more about this, I've got a short little 3-page PDF that goes over the big picture of how all of this works. You can get a copy of that at highticketpodcasting.com/10K clients. That's the number 10K clients. So highticketpodcasting.com/10K clients. So then opt in for that. That'll get you the PDF. And then on the thank you page, if you'd like to talk with me and see how we can, install this in your business, go ahead and book a call, and happy to have a chat.
Guys, go pursue this. Sometimes we take the hard road when we are looking for our next client. I think this is a smart strategy. It's a fun strategy. You get to meet amazing, cool people, and you get to invite those that are interested in moving forward at a very high success rate. Thanks for sharing your formula with us, Dave. I think it's awesome. Guys, please connect with him, take advantage of the resources, and if you want to take a fast way to install a system that works, this is a very smart offer. Thank you for having Dave join us today. Guys, we will see you all on our next episode. Go amplify your marketing message. Find your next client fast, because I can guarantee you, they're looking today for a solution you can support them with. Have a great one. We'll see you on our next episode. That's a wrap on another amazing episode of Amplify Your Marketing Message with me, host Christine Campbell-Rappin. Be sure to subscribe on your podcast platform so you don't miss another great episode. Be sure to visit christinecampbell.com/podcast to get a free resource on Master Your Marketing Message. We'll see you all on our next episode.